All right, so have you seen that it has now been shown pretty much beyond a doubt that the Russia hoax was indeed that, a hoax, something fabricated from start to finish, something many people knew pretty much straight away, and it has been shown a while ago now, but Tulsi Gabbard has added more information. So I just thought we could talk a little bit about how Hillary Rodham Clinton might be in a bit of trouble, because it does all end, or start rather, with her ultimately.
What year was the Mueller report published? Because I thought it was the Mueller report that came to the conclusion that yes, this was all nonsense.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I can't remember what years ago.
I can't remember what year that was published, but yeah, at that point, that's the point at which you had no credibility if you still tried to claim it was true. Yeah, after the Mueller report, after the Durham investigation and the Mueller report. There's this dossier, this Steele dossier, Christopher Steele. It's just not true. But let's get into it. So, actually, first of all, now the segment has started, we have to quick shield for the Islander magazine. Buy it. It's well good. That sounded really insincere, didn't it?
Is Bodade in this?
I'm not in this one, but
snubbed.
Should be in the next one, I would have thought, probably. But buy it. It's out now. There are limited. I think there's only, in the order of 15 or 1,000 we print, and they always sell out reasonably quickly. So if you do want one, go to our website and get one, because it will almost certainly sell out.
You will look sexier reading it as well.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's funny, actually, you on the promo thing, looking deadly serious reading it. Very serious face.
It is deadly serious. If you're not reading Lit by a Chimney Fire, then are you even reading seriously? You're reading children books. You're reading Peppa Pig at that point.
Don't knock Peppa Pig.
It should be read.
My daughter loves it.
It should be read in a library or the drawing room of a country house. If you're not reading it in the library or the drawing room of a giant country house, then,
But getting Islander is a key step to getting that country estate.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so let's have a first look at what. Okay, so what happened is why it's in the news cycle at the moment is Tulsi Gabbard, the director of national intelligence for the Trump White House, has come out and said I have now just got sort of slam dunk evidence, documents and things that show beyond any doubt, like the lies, really, the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2016 started off, and then Obama was in on it. It was peddled all the way through Trump's first administration by the intelligence services and the mainstream media. You've got like the likes of Clapper, who was the National Intelligence Director, the Director of National Intelligence at the time, the CIA, John Brennan, the FBI, James Comey. It was peddled by all of them and many more, and the mainstream media, the particular type, Democrat shield type mainstream media, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, people like Rachel Maddow, right? How hard they pushed it. But no one ever, even after the Mueller report, no one ever got in any trouble for that, right? I mean, Comey lost his job, but that was sort of a wider thing. No one really got in trouble. Certainly Hillary herself never got in any trouble for it. There's no real question that she was going to be prosecuted or anything. So what I want to do is just run through the story a bit for anyone who doesn't remember it, or perhaps if you're quite young, you weren't old enough, because this goes back, it starts in about 2016, so like knocking 10 years ago now, this story has been going on. So there will be younger people that won't remember how, like, the events and how they all played out. So I want to go through it, and it will be, I won't go into everyone's name, because it's actually quite a complicated story. At its essence, it's very straightforward, but all the details, it does get a bit cloudy, a bit complicated. There'll be all sorts of people that I won't go into much detail about, but are important to the story, like Bill Barr, for example. But okay, so at the moment, the mainstream media, the shield Democrat legacy media, they're trying to spin it that it's just, it's a nothing burger, and that there is no evidence. That's a lie. There is evidence. There absolutely is evidence.
Wasting the public's time, energy, and who knows how much money
trying
on these bogus claims just doesn't matter. It's not of public interest.
Well, they tried to overturn the result of an election, didn't they, by saying that he's illegitimate and was funded by a foreign power, and therefore the results should be, either overturned or, they should have another election or a rerun. That was the whole aim of it, which quite insidious, isn't it?
Yeah, the ultimate lie. Like Rachel Maddow, for example, would be saying things like, "This is war. Russia is at war with us over this. Trump is a hand-picked Kremlin stooge. He is Putin's puppet, and this is basically a Russian coup d'état against America." It's like crazy nonsense.
It's also just frankly not great for foreign relations.
Yeah.
When we weren't like America was not at that time, prior to February 2022, officially at war with Russia, when the entirety of the media was screeching as though they were.
Yeah.
Also, the way many American commentators talk about their political system, it's as if the president holds ultimate power, when actually they don't. And if the Russians were to try and influence, US politics, sure, getting the president would be good for them, but also there's much more to running the US and the state than just the presidency. And in fact, as we've seen throughout American history, the presidency can be quite an ineffective office if you've got a hostile Congress.
Well, also, if you really wanted to have ultimate legislative power, you'd want to fit the entire Supreme Court with Kremlin agents, and then just get a load of insider agents to fire off lawsuit after lawsuit until one gets to the Supreme Court.
The separation of powers actually makes it much harder than other countries to be able to do that. So it's one of the political systems in the world that's probably the most difficult to have foreign influence, although, to be fair, there are lots of pressure points for foreign capital to affect things. So that's another avenue.
Yeah, Russia and Israel and a number of countries, Britain, in fact, have got a fair bit of influence in various ways. So it's not the case that... Well, anyway, that's a whole nother angle. I wasn't going to go into that sort of thing. But let's just watch what the mainstream... This is NBC, their angle on this. One sec.
General is ordering a grand jury investigation into claims by the White House that former President Obama ordered a probe into then candidate Trump's 2016 campaign connections to Russia, allegedly to try to hurt his chances of becoming president. By the way, allegations that are not substantiated.
Well, they are, so that's wrong.
Justice Department spokesperson declined to comment when asked about the letter. Just a couple weeks ago, the office for the former president said, in part, these claims are outrageous enough to merit a comment. The bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. I want to bring in Monica.
So that's one of the angles they're going for as well, that this is all distraction to move the news cycle away from the Epstein thing. And I'll talk about that a bit later. But one, okay, maybe it is. Two, I actually don't care. I'm more interested in the truth. Three, no one's actually going to take their eye off the ball. Forget about Epstein. Mm-hmm. No one's going. That's not happening. So
it's also
that's a weak argument. That it's just distraction. Well,
Trump's been concerned about this before all of the Epstein stuff anyway, and this is a progression of a many-year-long effort to get some degree of justice for this. And also, the Democrats are treating this like this idea just sprung up out of the ground. It has to have its origin somewhere, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we know where. We've got the receipts. Gabbard has got the receipts.
Also, frankly, if it is a kind of distraction tactic, I don't see why somebody like the Clintons wouldn't also welcome it, given that they are just as, if not more heavily implicated in the Epstein affair as Trump.
I'll end with that as well.
Monica Alba, who was at the White House. Plain English it here. Why does this matter? What does this mean?
Remember a couple of weeks ago, Hallie, when really the headlines were dominated by the Jeffrey Epstein controversy, and then the president was sort of trying to change the topic very obviously, and in many different venues, was trying to bring up these unsubstantiated claims about the role he argues former President Obama had.
Okay, you get it. They're not unsubstantiated. They're just not. So you're liars. All right. Let's just let people, again, who might not remember sort of 8-9 years ago, I won't play all of this, but we'll play a bit, to how hard it was pushed.
Donald Trump's done. He's done. There's no question about that. He's done.
Russia, Vladimir Putin, Russia,
Trump, Putin, Russian collusion.
Trump, Russian sort of collusion.
Trump, Russian, possible collusion.
Breaking news.
A bombshell.
Today is a turning point. Today was historically bad for President Trump.
Today was a turning point.
A turning point. We're at a turning point here. Russia hates Russia.
Trump, Russian metal collusion.
Trump, Russia, possible collusion.
Trump, Russian potentially collusion.
At the beginning of the year
Goes on
comes
and
a
on.
big change.
Because all of a sudden, Trump, Russian possible collusion,
I didn't expect to be
Russia possible collusion, Trump, Russia possible collusion, Trump.
It just goes on and on.
The beginning of the end. Slam all 17 intelligence agencies.
They would always come out with the same thing. It's the beginning of the end. The walls are closing in on Trump. New bombshell. Just day after day after day. Just an endless tsunami of saying that Trump is... So you get it. Where does this all come from? So, well, actually, let's just let Matt Taibbi talk a little bit here.
And the thing is, now you have this guy, Leonardo Bernardo, a name with George Soros's Open Society. Jeff Goldstein, dealing with Debbie Wasserman Schultz, back and forth and finding a way to change the narrative from Hillary's emails and the John Podesta hacking to Donald Trump in bed with Vladimir Putin to hopefully win the election and later to destroy his first term when he won.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable because the real story here is that Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server opened up the United States to an unprecedented security risk. And the Russian government actually came into possession of a huge cache of material, correspondence all the way up to the president's office. And yet, in order to deflect from that, they had to create some kind of story that was similarly explosive. So they came up with this idea of linking and vilifying Trump and Putin together. They talked about it being a long-term project to demonize them both. And that's what they did. And what's so remarkable is that every single major media reporter in America went along with this.
Okay, that's it in its essence. So where this all started was that back in the Obama years, Hillary Clinton, for a period, was at the State Department, the head of the State Department, the American equivalent of the Foreign Secretary, right? So one of the absolutely most senior people in the whole government, below the president. So she did that for a few years. And while she was there, she was involved in all sorts of shenanigans and dodgy stuff. One of which was that she had a server, a State Department server, put in her house. Completely, you're not allowed to do that. Completely not allowed to do that. Again, if anyone's not clear, the State Department deals with all sorts of secrets and foreign policy and diplomacy and actual sensitive stuff. So even if you're the head of the State Department, you can't just have a server put in your home or in your bathroom. And that's
I was about to ask, wasn't it in the bathroom?
I think so, yeah. And it wasn't secure, certainly wasn't secure enough, and it seems like the Russians hacked into it, got into it. So right there, that's a bad enough error to be raised to the level of being prosecutable, but she never was. She did have to answer a few questions about it one time, but then other times just didn't turn up to the hearings and stuff like that. She's too important for that. Another thing she did was sell off something in the order of 20% of America's uranium sector. All different things to do with mining and I think enriching uranium that the United States do. Sort of essentially gave it away to the Russians in exchange for something like $100 million or $140 million that got donated to the Clinton Foundation. Also, Bill would go on speaking trips to Russia around that time and make like $500,000 straight into his own pocket around that time.
What a strange coincidence. That's very inconvenient, coincidence for both of them.
Good work if you can get it.
Yeah, right. So after that, Hillary then stopped being at the State Department so that she could have a year or two in order to gear up for her 2016 presidential run. Right.
Happy birthday to this future president.
Yeah. She's the future president.
We're still waiting.
And so, certainly after Trump won his primary, but even before that, the Hillary campaign had done some polling, sort of internal polling, and it had shown that the things that she'd done during her time at the State Department were really bad. People had noticed and remembered that she'd sold off all sorts of the uranium sector and Benghazi, and the server thing. People sort of hadn't forgot. It was only a couple of years previous that all that had gone down. So they realised that it would probably be a close run thing, whoever she ran against, and she may well lose. So she decided to sort of green light an idea from one of her team, apparently someone called Julie.
Julie as yet undetermined.
And people like John Podesta and Christopher Steele and various other people. Someone came up with the idea that we'll smear Trump with like this Russian collusion idea. So they got a dossier, and this is all very a little bit cloak and daggers. It's very murky, actually, to do with a British company and a British intelligence officer. But anyway, they got some dirt, what they thought was dirt, through a British intelligence asset, actually. But anyway, through Russia, saying, have you got any like dirt on Trump? And anyway, the point is, it was all, and this is what later has been called the Steele dossier. And it was that stuff like Trump's compromising stuff in hotel rooms through prostitutes and peeing. And this sort of embarrassing kind of stuff. I
remember that actually being in the news and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's like, really? It's like schoolyard stuff, this is.
Yeah, one, it's a complete fabrication. Wholesale, whole cloth fabrication. Two, if you're going to make something up, you're going with that. You're not going with anything like really politically juicy. You're just going with...
He's a weirdo.
Yeah.
Well, that was the approach that they took in 2024 as well. But there was a bit of a scattershot approach, but I imagine that they felt it was necessary because around the time of that campaign, was that not also at the same time that all of the Pizzagate allegation and conspiracies were coming out? So they needed anything at all to try to draw the mainstream discussion or online discussion away from any connection that the Clintons may have had to do with that.
Yeah. The whole thing...
And then Q comes about as well and then starts promoting that to really push it into the realm of kook sphere.
The whole Russia hoax was one big long exercise in distracting people from talking about Hillary's email server and Hillary's, the Clintons' connection to Russia. Yeah.
Because, of course, you accuse people of doing what you yourself are doing, don't you?
Right. Classic, right? It's a classic tactic, yeah. People were saying this, some people were saying this sort of quite quickly or at the time, but they were dismissed by the mainstream media, by the intelligence services, by the FBI or whatever, saying, no, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're the crazy one. Just the levels of gaslighting on it were crazy. But let's let this guy, he's on Fox News, I think he's on Hannity, but I think this guy is Jarrett, an ex-FBI fella. It's just about a minute, but he just says it exactly as it is.
Very quietly.
Maggie Haberman became obsessed with action, never an apology. Look, the New York Times and Maggie Haberman became obsessed with Donald Trump, driven by their hatred, their arrogance, their liberal bias. They were blinded to the fundamental standards of fairness and accuracy and the truth. And then they're rewarded, as you pointed out, Sean, with a Pulitzer Prize for getting a story wrong. I mean, when you reward bad behavior, all you get is more bad behavior, more lies, more smears. So the New York Times is very much like a religious cult when it comes to Trump. They are maniacal, and they hire mindless sycophants like Ben Smith, who published the dossier without ever bothering to investigate or verify or corroborate any of it. If he had, he would have learned that it was a collection of lies conjured up by two classic phonies, Glenn Simpson and Christopher Steele, and funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign and Democrats. They were played for the fools that they are, useful idiots. And if the New York Times had any integrity, it would fire those individuals who got that story wrong for so long and apologize sincerely to their readers.
Okay, yeah. So now all of this, although a lot of this has been known for a while, again, there's no question that anyone, like you said, no one's going to get fired. Certainly Hillary herself is not facing any sort of repercussions. But now it looks like it is, whether it's a distraction technique from the Trump White House because of Epstein. I don't particularly care, because no one's going to forget about Epstein. So if it's coming out, it's good. I wrote an article, like any decent lecturer, you have to peddle your own stuff, don't you? I wrote an article a while ago.
At least yours aren't overpriced books on it.
Right, yeah. I'm not going to force you to buy a book from a reading list.
Not yet.
Just to mention that this is on our website, where just talking about how the deep state, as Trump would call it, people like Brennan, a number of people, I name them here, all sorts of people, were just prepared to lie endlessly for the Dems. Just brazenly, just go in front of like the American people and just say just complete lies endlessly. I mean, this article actually concentrates a bit more on the laptop from Doom, the laptop from hell, Hunter Biden's laptop. But the same thing applies with the Steele dossier and the Russia hoax. Let's play a little bit of this. Samson, did you have it lined up where I said? No. Okay. Anyway, let's play a little bit of it. Why is that not playing?
Let's see, it's...
Oh, here we go. It's just a bit of Glenn Greenwald.
Fraud, which I'll remind you again, was driven by the core conspiracy claim that the Trump campaign officials collaborated and colluded and conspired with the Kremlin to hack into the DNC email server as well as John Podesta's email and disseminate those emails to WikiLeaks, and by the broader conspiracy theory that Trump was being blackmailed by Vladimir Putin with sexual material, compromising financial information, personal blackmail as well, and that therefore the Kremlin was basically, once Trump got elected, running the country. It was a completely unhinged and deranged conspiracy theory from the start, for which there was no evidence. I'm not just saying that retroactively. Like some people, not very many, but some, I was saying it quite vocally at the time. And it was clear not just that this was a scam or a fraud, but that it was one deliberately cooked up from the bowels of the intelligence community and law enforcement agencies, where so many of these lies get disseminated, namely from the CIA, then led by John Brennan, who we now know is a vehement, devoted hater of Donald Trump.
Okay, let's
We've had this ethos for so long in Washington. It actually goes back to Gerald Ford's pardon of Richard Nixon. If you go and watch the speech, Gerald...
We're running a little bit short of time, but Greenwald makes the point there where there's this thing in Washington, going back decades, going back to the 70s, where they say, let's not prosecute people that used to be at the top of government or used to be at the top of the Federal Reserve or top of Wall Street. Let's not do that because that's what banana republics do. This endless back and forth lawfare thing. It's unseemly. It's even un-American. Let's not do that. But people are saying now, it looks like Trump and the Bondi Department of Justice and lots of other people, and including myself, are saying, no, sod all that. No. If they've done something criminal, particularly really badly criminal, and there's no statute of limitations on their crimes, then no, let's prosecute them. I don't care that it's Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if your country's a banana republic if everyone is getting away with massive corruption and lying.
That's what makes you a banana republic.
It seems very strange to me to try to associate holding your leaders responsible for their actions with corrupt banana republics.
It's awfully convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. And I chose a bit of Glenn Greenwald there because although Glenn Greenwald is at heart ultimately a leftoid, he's not an NPC. Right, he does care about what's really true. At least I think he does, mostly. No, he's one of the good guys, really, even if he is a bit of a lefty. But I thought I'd put him in there because it's not just Fox News. It's not just people like Hannity that are banging this drum. It is anyone that can see what is true, what really happened. And I also have a couple of quick clips here from Jimmy Dore. Who also is a complete leftoid, but he's not. He's.
There's a certain type of leftist, like the Jimmy Dore type, who hate what they perceive as the betrayal of the Democratic Party more than they do the other side at this point. He hates both parties. I believe Dore recognizes that it's a uniparty, but he particularly hates all of the people in the Democrats who've made it that way.
Dore is one of the very few lefties that I actually don't mind at all watching. Because
very funny.
Because he will have a pop at The View or Rachel Maddow or CNN. He will totally just have a dig at them if what they're saying is insane nonsense. he does care a bit about the truth. So I've got respect for people like that, even if I don't necessarily agree with their entire worldview or anything. But so let's
bombshell coming out, but a bigger bombshell is that I'll be in Oxnard, California Sunday, and then I'll see the exact thing that they have been saying Donald Trump did for the last 10 years straight. And it's in their own book. New bombshell information that just concludes what we reported over 8 years ago.
What?
Yeah. So that the Clinton campaign and the FBI were in on smearing Donald Trump as a Russian colluder or in conspiracy with the Russians. And so the latest thing is, on Thursday, newly declassified documents revealed that not only did the CIA believe a Russian intelligence assessment that the 2016 Hillary Clinton campaign planned to smear Donald Trump by linking him to the Kremlin, it's clear that the FBI helped the Clinton campaign orchestrate the Russia hoax to distract from its investigation into her emails, which she should have went to prison for because she had a private server.
Okay. Listen
Democratic Party turning their back on their own their base, the blue collar workers, and they lost the election. That's why all this happened. And if you want to know who was really meddling in the election, it was the Clinton campaign, the FBI, the CIA, the media, and it was people in our own government. This is from the primary. Do you remember how they screwed Bernie Sanders? Daily News, New York City's Board of Elections will admit it purged more than 200,000 voters from the city rolls. After many Brooklyn residents arrived at the polls during last year's presidential primary to learn they were deemed ineligible to vote, the good government group Common Cause New York filed suit. State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman and the Brooklyn U.S. Attorney's Office...
It was actually a bit earlier where...
Because Hillary Clinton couldn't beat Donald Trump. And why couldn't she beat Donald Trump? Because the Democratic Party completely turned their back on their base, meaning working people. How do I know this? Because here's Chuck Schumer telling you right before Hillary Clinton is about to lose to Donald Trump in 2016 what their campaign strategy is. Their campaign strategy was to turn their backs on workers and blue-collar people and go after Republicans. What, you think I'm kidding? Listen.
For every blue-collar Democrat we will lose in Western PA, we will pick up 2, 3 moderate Republicans in the suburbs of Philadelphia. And you can repeat that in Ohio and Illinois and Wisconsin.
How'd that work out for you, Chuck?
Yeah, how'd that work out for you, Chucky boy? Okay, so I think you get the point. Unfortunately, I'm running really out of time, but there's just, you can find all sorts of compilations of just Rachel Maddow, Mad Cow, just endlessly going mad about Russia.
Russia hates Russian, Putin despises.
Get it? It was all just a massive lie.
And then all of a sudden one day I remember it just dropping.
Right.
It was just done because I assume it was the Mueller report coming out and they go, oh, we don't actually have a leg to stand on at all here. So they just pretend it never happened.
So with Tulsi Gabbard bringing this back up now, it looks like the Department of Justice will do some sort of grand jury style thing, a task force to actually properly look into it, subpoena power. So maybe, just maybe, it'll still be a long time from now, but maybe some justice will be had on this. We shall see.
A full investigation.
I'm not holding my breath, to be perfectly honest, but hopefully some cogs are in motion. And one last final thing, just to mention it, also in breaking in the news in the last sort of 3-4 days or so, is that both the Clintons have been subpoenaed to give evidence about their involvement in Epstein-related affairs in Congress.
And so, rather amusing thumbnail there. She looks very angry at him.
Yep.
Still not forgiven him.
So they have been subpoenaed to actually have to answer for themselves, whether they will or not. Whether they'll just say, oh, I don't recall, endlessly. We shall see. But yeah, looks like Hillary, people are gunning for Hillary at the moment. So that's nice to see.
Who are the men that pick for scraps amongst the ruins at the end of history? You should know, because you encounter them every day. Between the towering buildings of a fallen empire, we find the Fellaheen, the historyless men, who know nothing of the turning of the cosmic wheel and find themselves outside of civilization itself. Cut loose from the great chain of being, they represent the loam into which our dying culture will return. That is, unless we choose to take up the burden once again. This Fellaheen condition is the subject we explore in issue 4 of Islander magazine, on sale while stocks last and available worldwide at shop.lotuseaters.com.